there's no denying the fact that 2023 was an absolute abysmal year for comics. There was really nothing to talk about to get anybody hyped up. It was pretty much the only thing you could really talk about was how badly it actually went. Everything that could have gone wrong, went wrong, continued to go wrong, still went wrong, and it just rolled over into 2024. And when you reach to 2024 now, apart from like Ultimate Spider-Man from Marvel that people are saying are really good and stuff like that, there really isn't anything else to get anybody hyped on. And you cannot run an entire industry on just Ultimate Spider-Man because everything else is just total crap. So yeah, it just continues to get worse. And meanwhile, there are people out there trying to hype up some of these terrible books and terrible things and act like this is the greatest time in comic books history, when it isn't. It literally isn't. Retailers are talking about it. Comic book shops are closing down. Most people, if they want to survive, they have to supplement. Not just selling comic books, they have to put in a bunch of other stuff like Magic the Gathering cards and Yu-Gi-Oh! And all this other stuff to barely stay afloat. Yet they just continue to ignore it as everything continues to spiral down worse and worse. So we've gotten more updates, and once again another comic book shop is closing because they just cannot stay afloat in this declining business. And even when that, as tragic as it is, because I don't like to see these things happening for people who have been there for their customers for years, there's still many in the industry who refuse to acknowledge that there's something very, very wrong going on here. Get into this. Another comic shop, Cosmic Comics, closes as the comic industry spirals. This is from Fandom Pulse. It seems like a comic book store is closing every other week. Yeah, that is very accurate, to be honest with you. The comic book industry has been in turmoil over the last year, a lot longer than the last year, as poor writing, lack of editorial vision, and identity politics have merged Marvel and DC Comics to a point where too many customers have checked out. Now Cosmic Comics has announced that they are closing up shop in Belleville. And what they have here in this article here, poor writing, lack of editorial vision, and identity politics. Those are three of the main problems that you're getting with comic books these days. The writing is atrocious. This is why I don't even look to check out Marvel and DC Comics anymore unless I have to do some kind of review for it and that's about it. Because a series may start off and people will say, hey, that's not really good, boy, going okay. And I know that by the fourth or fifth issue, if even so long, it's going to go straight into the crapper. The writing is terrible. Some of these so-called writers could start off okay, probably like in the middle still be alright, but then they fumble the ball so badly. And that leads into the second part, the lack of editorial vision. There is literally no editorial oversight anymore because everybody is so damn afraid. They're really telling you, you know what, write this, write that, write whatever. They're not even checking to see if anything is actually good anymore. You could put out books that have that they spend pages upon pages with people sitting in coffee shops drinking, and that's about it. It does nothing else. It establishes nothing. It cannot fix anything. But no, people are just so terrified. Why? Because it comes into the identity politics. If you stand up and say, listen, this nonsense does not make any kind of sense at all, get rid of it, you are likely to be cancelled. Because every book must feature somebody that affiliates with this identity politics nonsense, aka woke culture. That's it. This is what these books have become about, and fans are sick and tired of it. People just want to be entertained, but you can't get that. So yes, Cosmic Comics are closing shop because they and all cannot survive this nonsense. continue on. There's little to be excited about in mainstream comics in 2024. It's in less than little. Less than little. After Glenn O'Leary made his famous viral video last year, the state of the comic industry was exposed for how far they'd fallen with self-insert versions of characters dominating and changing established law. As I said before, when it comes to the poor writing. And Glenn O'Leary actually made it, actually his video was like a spark that set off everybody was in God's honest truth. These writers do not write, what would Batman do? What would Spider-Man do? What would Captain America do? What would Wonder Woman do? What would the X-Men do? What would whoever do? No, they write, what would I do if I was this character and my entire life revolved around identity politics? That's it. That's it. And when you look at the bastardization of these characters, it is absolutely unrecognizable. Absolutely unrecognizable. I go back to Gotham War, where you literally had the Bat members of the Bat family siding with Catwoman, whose plan was to train criminals to rob from the rich and then give some of that money to the poor, because according to Catwoman, rich people deserve to get robbed. And they were trying to spin this story like Batman was out of control for wanting to stop them. They kept talking about the Zeranar Batman personality, and none of that actually happened. You wasn't seeing Batman beating criminals within an inch of their life or setting them on fire, having them burned to death while he has sex with Black Canary right there. No, none of that was happening. Nothing Batman did made it seem like he was crazy. Okay, him messing with Jason Todd's mind was, well, what's that little moral gray area? But keep in mind, Jason Todd tried to kill him like twice in just Gotham War alone. When they tried to set up that whole book like Batman was in the wrong. This is the same Batman if you go back. If you go back to some of the classic and best Batman stories, if Batman sees criminals breaking into a place, he's not going to ignore them. He's going to beat the shit out of them because he's a crime fighter. His parents were rich and they were gunned down in an alleyway. Who the hell are you to say rich people deserve to get robbed? But that is the kind of nonsense that they put into this book, because that is what Tini Howard and the rest of them believe in their mind. This is how warped these people are. The rich deserve to be robbed for being rich. If somebody wasn't born into wealth and built themselves up, you understand me? No, that's wrong, because they must be poor and suffering, and the government must feed them, because as far as they're concerned, that is what the government is there for, to take care of you while you complain about it. So if somebody is a self-made success, no, they deserve to have everything that they worked hard for robbed, because that's what you think it's supposed to be. These people are disturbed. Get back to this, sir. Comic book professionals mocked Glenn O'Leary instead of listening to their customers. Save for Mark Miller, who stepped up to listen to O'Leary and other comic shop owners about the myriad of problems facing the industry. Yeah, they piled on Glenn O'Leary for having the balls to come out and say what we've all been saying. I have been saying it for the longest, and believe me, people attack me regularly for it, because I'm supposed to just shut my mouth, sit there, and enjoy watching the destruction of something I love. No, I'm going to say something. If nobody says anything, what is going to happen? You know the funny thing about it is, the same people who are quick to tell me and others, if you don't like it, don't buy it, don't watch it, do this, do that. When we decide to actually do that, and they get to see how badly these things turn out to be, because the road it's going down now, it's only going to get worse unless something drastic is done. When they see that, they will be the first ones to turn around and say, oh, all those YouTubers and people who were saying things, why they stop talking now? But yet, they're the ones telling us to shut up about it. And if we decide to do it, then they will complain about it. Tell you you cannot make these people happy no matter what you do. Fans saw a change in the way professionals talked about the industry. Even though Heidi McDonald of Comics Beat was quick to proclaim that the comic industry was fine. Yeah, right. Professionals finally started to admit there were problems with sales, including Batman writer Chip Zdarsky, who spoke on a live stream about the matter. However, even though these comic professionals are seeing the declining sales and finally taking notice, they're not addressing the core problems facing comic shops nor creating a fan-friendly environment by which people would want to become a part of this community. Even Rob Liefeld blasted woke comics Twitter last year before being pressured to delete his post. Yeah, they're not acknowledging the real problems because, like I say, these people live in a constant state of fear where they have to side with this to keep their jobs, or else they will get cancelled. And when you talk about the problems facing these comic shops and not creating a fan-friendly environment, the problem facing comic shops is that it is nothing good for people to want to get invested in. When is the last time you were actually excited to read something in comics? No, but time for manga and things people are related because you know you're getting stories that you actually want because you're getting stories, not some garbage that they're trying to put out there. When we talk about not creating a fan-friendly environment, it is perfectly okay to love something and still have a problem with it and still point, you know what, this could be done better. It's perfectly okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You see it all the time when it comes to, as I keep saying, look at the difference between manga creators and comic book writers. When it comes to manga writers and stuff, they will actually engage with their fans and their audience, be respectful, all these things. Meanwhile, you have comic book writers on Twitter and other places blasting fans, blocking them, sending the mob after them for daring to say anything about the piece of crap that they keep writing. How is that supposed to be a fan-friendly environment? But that's what we're getting. That pressure and culture of fear have been permeating comics for a long time too. And the latest victim of the Whisper Network and running afoul of certain individuals with power in the industry is Ed Piskor of cartoonist kayfabe. When he sadly committed suicide after gross texts appeared between him and a young girl, it was too much for him to face the insane ramblings of his peers who were happy to cancel him as fast as they propped him up as a staple in comics to begin with. Yes, now what happened with Ed Piskor was terrible. I decided not to cover it out of respect for him and his family. I decided to leave these people alone. They're clearly grieving. A lot of other YouTubers and things did videos on it. And so if you ever want to check out any of them, you can do so and you see exactly what happened. But I decided to just leave it out of respect for him. But yeah, it actually is because they were still happy to cancel him, and this led to this. And none of them are even the least bit sorry it happened. Now another sad event is happening with this comic bookstore closure. Cosmic Comics made a 4-minute video to announce the situation, posting to Facebook to alert their customers. This is what they had to say. Mid-August of 2024, we will be closing down our business. This is what the owner said. There's quite a few factors that went into making this decision, but the main reason is last year in 2023, we were down quite a bit at the end of the year. And unfortunately, coming out of the gate in the first quarter, we're down even more than we were in 2023 because there's nothing to be excited about. Nothing. So how can you run a business like that? I mean, look at this here. There's really the panel where I'm talking about how Nightcrawler was born because Mystique and she lesbian lover, Mystique turned into a man, give it to her, leave it to her lover, good, and then, the baby was birthed, football style, American football style. That's it. Who picked up this book? Who went in there and said, let me pick up this book. This is really interesting and exciting. I want this. Nobody. Nobody. Comic sales have been slumping, with DC Comics reboot all but failing and Marvel Comics having few titles to cheer for other than Jonathan Hickman's Ultimate Spider-Man. Exactly. It's not much reason for fans to make it into the shop every week. One comic shop owner told Fandom Pulse that he believes as few as 30% of his customers actually read the books, and the others are buying for collecting out of habit or speculation. This is a troubling sign for modern comics. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. The majority of people are just buying it out of collecting and just putting it there, not even bothering to open it or read it. Because I have actually heard people say that, they only buy comics for the covers. That's it. They have no interest in reading anything inside it because they just don't like it. They just don't like it. That's it. They don't care. They will quickly read an entire manga, whole volumes and things, then they would ever read this. The Cosmic Comics video was a sad one, and his customers will no doubt miss another nice comic shop owner who cares about them and the media. However, unless the big two companies of Marvel and DC Comics get the memo, the comic industry isn't long for this world. They have no intention of stopping these things. This is what I'm saying. So yeah, this is another really heartbreaking video to know that yet another comic shop is closing down. Hasn't been the first, won't be the last, but this is what they want, to just continue to destroy everything while they sit there and dance on the ashes of everything. That's it. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like, make sure to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell to be notified every time I put out a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.